Welcome back, chess enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into an exciting game from the Tata Steel Chess Tournament 2025, featuring two grandmasters, Anish Giri and Max Warmerdam. This match is a perfect showcase of the Italian game, specifically the Giuoco Pianissimo, Italian four knights variation. So, grab your boards and let's analyze the opening phase together. The game kicks off with e4, a classic opening move from white, aiming to control the center. Black responds with e5, mirroring white's ambition. Both players are sticking to traditional principles here. White develops their knight with knight f3, attacking that e5 pawn, while black counters with knight c6, reinforcing their control over the center. Next, we see bishop c4 from white, targeting the f7 square, a common theme in the Italian game. Black plays knight f6, developing their knight and putting pressure on the e4 pawn. White continues with d3, solidifying their center, and black responds with bishop c5, eyeing that f2 pawn. Now, white plays knight c3, developing another piece and preparing for future action. Black's next move, h6, is a bit more cautious, giving the bishop a retreat square while also preventing any knight jumps to g5. White castles kingside with short castling, ensuring their king's safety, and black follows suit with d6, solidifying their pawn structure. Here comes an interesting moment with knight a4. White is looking to challenge that bishop on c5. Black responds with bishop b6, retreating the bishop to safety. White plays a3, giving the knight on a4 a little breathing room, and black plays bishop g4, pinning the knight on f3. Next, we have c3 from white, reinforcing the center and preparing for potential pawn breaks. Black's bishop h5 keeps the pressure on, maintaining that pin. Then, we see knight takes b6, where white captures the bishop, gaining a material advantage. The evaluation shifts here, showing white ahead by 3 points due to that extra bishop. Black responds with a takes b6, capturing the knight and balancing the material once again. White plays queen e2, centralizing the queen and preparing for potential attacks. Black's queen d7 follows, aiming to connect their rooks. White continues with queen e3, keeping the pressure on, and finally, black castles kingside with short castling, solidifying their position. The opening phase has been rich with development and tactical opportunities. Both players have navigated through the opening with careful precision, and we're left with an interesting middle game ahead. White kicks things off with h3, a solid pawn move from white, giving the king some breathing room and preventing any pesky backrank threats. The evaluation is still quite balanced here, with white holding a slight edge. Now, black responds with d5, striking in the center and challenging white's pawn structure. This move keeps the game dynamic and maintains the tension. The evaluation dips slightly, but it's still very much in the balance. White captures with e takes d5, taking that central pawn and gaining a little material advantage. Now, white is ahead by 1 point, but the imbalances remain interesting, with black still holding that extra knight. Black plays knight takes d5, recapturing the pawn and keeping the knight active in the center. The evaluation remains stable, but there was a missed opportunity here for black to play knight e7, which could have repositioned the knight more effectively. White continues with knight takes e5, grabbing another pawn and increasing their lead. The position is still rich with possibilities, but white is now firmly in the driver's seat. Black responds with queen d6, bringing the queen into play and eyeing that knight on e5. The evaluation remains steady, but white is still ahead by a point. Now, white plays bishop takes d5, capturing the knight and significantly increasing their material advantage to 4 points. This is a pivotal moment in the game, as white's bishop is now dominating the board. Black recaptures with queen takes d5, taking back the bishop but still trailing behind. The evaluation shows white maintaining a solid edge. Next up, we see knight takes c6, where white captures the knight and further extends their lead. Now, white is ahead by 4 points again, showcasing their material advantage. Black plays queen takes c6, recapturing the knight and trying to simplify the position, but white is still ahead by 1 point. White then plays queen e4, centralizing the queen and keeping pressure on black's position. The evaluation shows white still holding a slight edge. Black responds with rook fe8, bringing the rook into play, but white is still ahead by 1 point. Now, we have queen takes c6, where white captures the queen, and just like that, the evaluation skyrockets. White is now ahead by 10 points, a massive advantage in this position. Black plays b takes c6, recapturing the queen but still facing an uphill battle with white's material advantage. White continues with bishop f4, developing the bishop and keeping the pressure on. The evaluation remains solidly in white's favor. Black plays rook e2, trying to create some counterplay, but white is still ahead by 1 point. Next, we see b4 from white, pushing the pawn and maintaining that material edge. Black responds with b5, trying to create some counterplay on the queen side, but white is still ahead by 1 point. White captures with bishop takes c7, taking another pawn and increasing their lead to 2 points. The position is looking quite favorable for white. Black plays rook c2, bringing the rook into play, but white is still ahead by 2 points. Next, we have bishop e5, where white centralizes the bishop and maintains the 2-point advantage. Black responds with bishop e2, trying to exchange pieces, but white is still ahead by 2 points. White plays rook fe1, bringing the rook into play and keeping that pressure on black. The evaluation remains steady. Finally, we see bishop takes d3, where black captures a pawn, but white is still ahead by 1 point. White kicks things off with rook e3, repositioning the rook and eyeing potential threats while maintaining that slight edge. Black responds with bishop g6, bringing the bishop into play and trying to challenge white's control. The evaluation remains pretty stable, with white still holding onto that 1-point advantage. Now, white plays bishop d4, moving the bishop to a more active square and increasing pressure on black's position. The evaluation shifts slightly, showing white's advantage growing a bit more. Black's king makes a cautious move with king h7, stepping out of potential checks and keeping the position solid. The evaluation stays close, with white still ahead. White continues with rook e7, doubling down on the pressure and putting the rook on a strong square. The evaluation nudges up, reflecting white's increasing dominance. Black plays rook a6, shifting the rook to the 6th rank, but white's advantage is still holding strong. Next, we see g4 from white, pushing the pawn and solidifying the position further. Now, the evaluation jumps significantly, showing a clear 2-point lead for white. Black responds with king g8, moving the king back into a safer position. The evaluation continues to reflect white's solid advantage. Now, white plays rook e8 check, delivering a check and forcing black's king to move. The evaluation remains strong for white, but there was a missed opportunity to play rook ae1 for an even better position. Black's king retreats to king h7, trying to escape the check. The evaluation ticks up, showing white's advantage growing even more. White then plays rook f8, bringing the rook into play and increasing the pressure on black's position. The evaluation jumps again, indicating a solid lead for white. Black responds with rook e2, moving the rook and trying to create some counterplay, but white is still ahead. Next up, we have f4 from white, pushing the pawn and maintaining that 2-point advantage. The evaluation remains steady, showing white's control. Black plays f5, trying to challenge white's pawn structure, but white is still ahead by 2 points. White captures with g takes f5, taking the pawn and increasing their lead to 2 points again. The evaluation reflects this growing advantage. Black plays bishop h5, moving the bishop to a more active square, but white's advantage is still solid. Next, we see rook c8 from white, doubling down on the pressure and maintaining that 2-point lead. The evaluation shows white firmly in control. Black responds with bishop f3, trying to exchange pieces, but white is still ahead by 2 points. White plays rook c7, moving the rook to a more aggressive position and increasing the evaluation to a whopping 4-point lead. Black checks with rook g2 check, forcing white's king to move. The evaluation remains strong for white. White plays king f1, moving the king to safety and maintaining that 4-point advantage. Black's king moves back to king g8, but white is still comfortably ahead. White plays rook e1, bringing the rook into play and increasing the pressure on black. The evaluation continues to reflect white's solid lead. Finally, we see rook takes a3, where black captures a pawn, but white is still ahead by 1 point, showcasing their material advantage. White starts off this crucial phase with f6, pushing that pawn forward and maintaining a 1-point lead. This move is all about creating threats and advancing the position. Black responds with bishop d5, moving the bishop to a more active square. This is a solid attempt to challenge White's control, but the evaluation nudges up slightly, indicating that White's advantage is growing. Now, White plays f7 check, delivering a check. This is a powerful move that not only keeps the pressure on Black but also pushes the evaluation to a staggering 7-point lead. White is really capitalizing on that material advantage and forcing Black into a defensive position. As we can see, Giri is expertly navigating this endgame, using his pawns and pieces to create threats while maintaining a commanding lead. It's a masterclass in endgame strategy. So, what can we take away from this? Always be on the lookout for opportunities to push your pawns and create threats, especially in the endgame where every move counts. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more chess insights. Until next time, keep those pieces moving and your minds sharp.